Good morning, dear students. We are studying about studying the chapter Happy Prince, and we know that the swallow was staying with the prince, and he had given his the ruby on his sword and two sapphires, which was the eyes of the Happy Prince. And after that, the swallow decided to stay with the prince, but the prince was not ready to accept it. But also the swallow was staying there. All the next day, he sat on Prince's shoulder and told him stories of what he had seen in the strange lands. So then, now the prince has lost both of his eyes, and he is unable to see what is happening outside. So what the swallow sits on his shoulder and observe what is things happening around, and he will be telling the stories about the things that is taking place. "Dear little swallow," said the prince, "you tell me of marvelous things, but more marvelous than anything is the suffering of men and women. There is no mystery so great as mystery. Fly over my city, little swallow, and tell me what you see there." And see, the swallow was telling that what are the good things or what are the great things that is taking place around. And the prince told that I don't want to listen to the things of the happy things that is already there, that will be taking place. There is no any kind of problems, but I want to know the problems or the miseries or the sadness of different people, men and women, those who are there and around. So you just make a look around and just have a fly around and find out what are the problems or any kind of issues that are taking place. So he just told that such a way you will be able to understand the problems that are taking place. Okay. So the swallow flew over the great city and saw the rich making merry in their beautiful houses, while the beggars were sitting at the gates. He flew into dark lanes and saw the white faces of starving children looking out listlessly at the black streets. Under the archway of the bridge, two little boys were lying in each other's arms to try and keep themselves warm. "How hungry we are," they said. "You must not lie here," shouted the watchman, and they wandered out into the rain. So he just looked into the places, and he found that there are so many things, and he found that there are like the rich people or the people, those who are happy, those who are having sufficient amount of money, they are enjoying their life, and they are making merry and enjoying. And but at the same time, just in front of their house, there will be some beggars and people, those who are suffering, and they are facing a lot amount of problems. They are so much amount of struggles they are facing. Okay. And then he flew back and told the prince what he had seen. "I am covered with a fine gold," said the prince. "You must take it off leaf by leaf and give it to the poor. The living always think that gold can make them happy." So he said that, he came back and told what are the things taking place. Then he said about the poor people, those who are suffering. Then the prince told that my body is fully covered with golden leaves. So you just take off one leaf and distribute it to the poor. Those poor people are there, they will be able to make use of it. Otherwise, there is like I am just shining and standing. There is no any fun in that. But you can distribute it to the poor. Leaf after leaf of the fine gold, the swallow picked off till the happy prince looked quite dull and grey. Leaf after leaf of the fine gold he brought to the poor, and the children's faces grew rosier, and they laughed and played in the street. "We have bread now," they cried. So now one after the other he started removing the leaves one by one. He was taking out and distributing it to the poor, and the poor people now they got all the gold, and they are having some food and some type of things at least for their life. Then the snow came, and after the snow came the frost. The streets looked as if they were made of silver. Everybody went about in furs, and the little boys wore scarlet caps and skated on the ice. So the winter season was approaching and it became very much cold, and people started to wear woolen clothes. Now first the snow started to fall, then after that there was a frost, very powerful cold climate was there, and people started wearing very funny clothes like the blankets or the jackets or such type of dresses. Children started wearing the scarlet caps and so on, and that entire atmosphere in that city has been changed. The poor little swallow grew colder and colder, but he would not leave the prince. He loved him too well. He picked up crumbs outside the baker's door when the baker was not looking, and tried to keep himself warm by flapping his wings. So the climate was becoming so much cold, and it was becoming difficult for the bird to survive. But he did not want to leave the prince because he loved the prince so much. Okay, so he did not want that he will continue there. But he just collected some food from the bakeries and all, and he also by flapping its wings he tried to be hot. So by like when we are doing some exercise, we will be able to be hot. Okay, so in the winter if you are doing some work, at least we will be a little bit hot. But at last he knew that he was going to die. He had just enough strength to fly up the prince's shoulder once more. "Goodbye, dear prince," he murmured. "Will you let me kiss your hand?" Okay, so then at last means he was trying to make himself warm and try to escape from the cold. But see, like it is by doing exercise or anything like that, it is not possible to do in the winter, and we cannot continue for a long. See, little bit and all we can do is like if you are just happen to be outside and if you are feeling cold, then by walking or running we will be able to escape. But when you are able to come back within a short period of time. But here he is not having such type of facilities, anything is not there, so he tried his maximum to survive, but he knew that he is going to die, so he wanted to say goodbye to the prince. So he went and sat on the shoulder of the prince, and in his ears he just said that goodbye, dear prince. "Will you let me kiss your hand?" And he asked permission to kiss his hand. "I am glad that you are going to Egypt at last, little swallow," said the prince. "You have stayed too long here, but you must kiss me on the lips, for I love you." So he said that at last you are going to. So the prince could not understand that the swallow is going to die, but the prince felt that he is going to Egypt. So he wanted to go there, and he just looked at him and went near to him, and the prince had told the swallow that you have to kiss my lips because I love you. In order to show the expression of my love, you have to kiss on my lips. "It is not to Egypt that I am going," said the swallow. "I am going to the house of death. Death is the brother of sleep, is he not?" And he said that I am not going to Egypt, but I am going to the house of death, or I am going to die. Death is the brother of sleep, and he said that death is the brother of sleep. Okay, and he kissed the happy prince on the lips and fell down dead at his feet. So as soon after saying this one, he was unable to control, or he was not able to control his life. So he just said, he went, and the prince had told him that at last you have decided to go to Egypt. So the prince was thinking that you are going to Egypt, but he went and made it clear that I am not going to Egypt, but I am going to die. So the death of the house of death, I am going to the house of death, he said. Okay, and he said that, and he just kissed his on the lips, and he kissed the happy prince on the lips and fell down. So soon after kissing, then he could not survive more than that. So then he just fall down on the feet of the happy prince, and he died there. Okay. At that moment, a curious crack sounded inside the statue, as if something had broken. The fact is that the leaden heart had snapped right in two. It certainly was the dreadful hard frost. So when the happy prince, when the swallow died on the feet of the happy prince, then there was a sound coming from inside the statue, and the heart which was made of lead of the prince had broken into two pieces. Okay, so this means that the departing of or the death of the swallow made his heart to break. Means that much love they both had, and they had to means that the heart of the happy prince also had broken. Okay. So that is enough for today. The remaining portion we study in the next class. Thank you so much.